Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the It's Korret Campaign Discussion Series, Episode 1. My name is Fis, and I'll be your host for today. On today's discussion, we'll be focusing on yogurt. And our topic is yogurt beyond its price tag, its health benefits, and its nutritional value. Joining me on this discussion are some representatives from the Food Health System Advisory, FHSA. I have here Adedeji Adeyemi. Adedeji Adeyemi is a technical service associate at the Food Health System Advisory with an extensive expertise spanning small and large-scale food operations. His breadth of experience across multiple functions positions him as a versatile force in advancing food industry solutions. He possesses over 5 years' experience working in the dairy sector. Also with Adedeji, I have Esther Iyanacho. Esther is a highly accomplished and dedicated technical service associate at the Food Health System Advisory, with over 7 years of specialized experience as a dairy professional with a profound understanding of the dairy science and technology. She has consistently contributed to the advancement in products development, quality assurance, and process optimization within the dairy beverage industry. So you're welcome, Adedeji. You're welcome, Esther. You're welcome to...
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. Thank you.
So moving on, I would like us to talk about the health benefits of yogurt. Now, when we talk about yogurt, the first thing that comes to people's minds are costs, right? When we mention yogurt, the first thing people think about is costs. So now, Ma, I would like you to tell us, does the health benefit of yogurt, does it justify the costs?
Yes, it does justify the cost. So when anyone actually is taking the bottle of a real yogurt, the person should have it like, I'm taking a medicine. This is food that is serving as drug too. Okay, because yogurt is produced with what we call a starter culture. So this starter culture is made up of 2 microorganisms, which are the beneficial microorganisms. They are very important to our gut health, especially. So when I say the microorganisms, I'm referring to lactic acid bacteria. Majorly, you have Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. So these 2 microorganisms are active and present in yogurt during consumption. So when anyone is consuming that, the microorganisms are actually intended to help our gut system, helping the growth of the other host of microorganisms in our gut. That's our digestive system, a part of our system where we make sure that foods are broken down. Like our whole system are virtually almost dependent on our gut health. So yogurt coming in with those beneficial microorganisms that help the functioning of the gut health is making it not just food, but drug too. So yes, the costs of yogurt justifies, the health benefits of yogurt rather justifies its cost. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for breaking that down. Although you're making use of some, terms that we are not quite familiar with, but nevertheless, it's quite, explained in a simple manner. So thank you so much for that. So moving on to my brother Adedeji. So can we compare? I want you to do like a comparison for us, comparing the homemade yogurts and the factory-produced yogurts, because a lot of times people believe that those factory-produced yogurts, they are not as nutritious as the homemade. So now, could you tell the consumers out there, especially the low-income earners, like, is there a difference? And if there is, does it have any health impacts?
All right. Thank you very much for that. So let me start by saying the consumers that are having second thought about factory yogurts, their concern is well placed, and I will try to explain in simple terms. So when it comes to yogurt production, basically when you compare homemade yogurt and factory made yogurt, you are basically looking at the scale the scale of production. Okay, so in as much as we are talking about yogurt, so the result is basically, the same. You will have the same products, of course, barring the fact that this one is produced at home and this one is produced with, mechanizer, with machines, with other things out there you will normally not find at home. Okay, so, but let me put a delineative there. So I believe where the concerns of the consumer comes in is the fact that there is a difference between what we call yogurt and what we call a yogurt drink. So both products are usually a manufacturer, they sell it to be the same. But in a nutshell, they are not the same. They are two different entities. They are two different kind of products. So I believe that's where the consumer concerns now stems in. So when we look at the ingredients that are used for homemade yogurt and factory-made yogurt, you also basically have the same. You have the milk, you have the water, you have the starter culture like Esther mentioned before. So you have that. But for factory-made yogurt, you can have, extra ingredients. Let's say, for example, you have artificial or natural colorist. So in the factory, you want to start talking about, oh, I want strawberry, oh, I want vanilla, oh, I want this, I want that. Okay, so you can find that in the factory. So you can say that the ingredient that are used in the factory-made yogurt is quite elaborate compared to the homemade yogurt. But however, the ingredients are not really the focus of the concern. Now, it's the fact that some yogurts in the factory, they started out as a yogurt like you normally produce at home, but in the end they became a yogurt drink. And what differentiates this? What differentiates this is what we call pasteurization. Pasteurization is the heat treatment that we usually give to our food, especially in the manufacturing sector, to kill harmful microorganisms. And we do this by heating the food up to a certain temperature. So we are talking about high temperatures here. Temperature can go as high as 130 degrees Celsius for a few seconds. Okay, so what you have done is that you are trying to kill harmful microorganisms, but however, the microorganism that Esther mentioned that are the key beneficiary in yogurt, you will have also killed those microorganisms along with it. In fact, for those microorganisms, when we talk about over 100 degrees. Okay, so by the time that product will come out, you are not having a yogurt again, because those beneficial microorganisms that will have been beneficial to the gut health, like Esther mentioned, they are already gone. They are out of the equation. So, and that is when it goes from being a yogurt into a yogurt drink. And I believe that is where the concerns of the manufacturing, of the consumers, comes in to say, oh, this is not as beneficial. So it is well placed. But however, there are still factories, there are still companies, biscuit companies that are also doing yogurts in the real sense of it without killing the microorganisms. So, but when you compare that one to the one we make at home, so you basically have, the same product, because they have not subjected their own to pasteurization, which is the heating process. So what you will have with those ones is typically the same with what you have at home. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that extensive explanation, and thank you for breaking it down the way you did. All right. So moving on to the storage part of it. When it comes to ensuring safe storage, because I believe that yogurt, for you to enjoy yogurt to the fullest, it has to be, refrigerated. It has to be cold. At some point, it has to be very, very fresh, right? For you to really enjoy yogurt. So speaking on the storage aspect, do you have any handling tips especially for those that are looking towards, going into it in a commercial way? They want to commercialize the product. They want to sell the product. So do you have any storage tips, and how should they handle it? How well should they handle it to ensure that the nutrients and the safe part of it are ensured?
All right. So thank you very much for that. Also, that is a very, very important discussion in terms of yogurts. And I would not love to call this a tip because it's a serious issue. So we are talking about a food safety issue here, and it can be a serious concern for some individuals. So let me start off by saying if you know you are lactose intolerant, in as much as yogurt doesn't contain much of lactose because the lactose inside the milk have been converted to lactic acid. But in the natural case, you still have some certain amount of it. So if you know you are allergic to milk or you are allergic to lactose, it's better for you to avoid all dairy products in a sense, including yogurt, because it could be a matter of life and death. Okay, so now moving on to the safety tips. So like you said, refrigeration is the first key component when you are trying to store your yogurt. Don't forget, this yogurt contains live culture. Like Esther mentioned, they are there, they are active, they are inside the food, there with you. They are good for your health, but the fact that they are your yogurt is the fact that we are keeping them alive, so they are active, they are playing around in the yogurt. They are beneficial microorganisms to you actually. Okay, so if you don't refrigerate, what might happen to your yogurt, apart from safety issue, is that we will have continuous fermentation. Fermentation is that process that converts your milk into yogurt by means of those microorganisms that Esther have mentioned, Streptococcus, Thermophilus, and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. So those organisms are there. So apart from safety issue, if you don't refrigerate, you will probably have off taste in your yogurt. You will find out that this yogurt is more sour than the way it used to be. I drank it yesterday, or I drank it a few hours ago. It's even more sour now in the mouth than I drank it. So it's because those microorganisms are there. And then in some cases of food safety now, you can have also contamination. So if you don't refrigerate, you can give room for some contaminating other microorganisms that were not intended to be in the yogurt. You are giving room for them to also grow, to also compete with those ones that are beneficial for you. So I think the first safety tip is that ensure that when you buy your yogurt, it's always refrigerated. When you take from it, ensure that it's always. That's why you will see that some manufacturers, they have gone to the extent of telling people how to preserve the yogurts. You see stuff that once open, consume within so days, once open, consume this, so it's so elaborate. This is because of food safety issue that we have had with yogurt in the past. Okay, so manufacturers, as they are starting to shift the responsibility to the consumers. You understand? So when they tell you, once you open this yogurt, consume immediately. So they are shifting the responsibility to you, that if anything happens to you, we will not be responsible. So apart from refrigeration, you also want to avoid probably buying yogurt in large quantities in a single container. Maybe you want to avoid buying 5 kilos, 5 liters, and all those ones, because you can't consume it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consumption. You won't have a choice than to open it, close it, open and close, and those open and close can actually introduce contaminant microorganisms into the yogurt. So apart from refrigeration, you also want to avoid opening the yogurt every time. So buy what you can finish in 1 or 2 consumption, so that those microorganisms that we have spoken about, they can be active, they can actually work for you. So I think that also says a lot about when you want to preserve your yogurt. So I think if you put these tips together, refrigeration, the allergen, avoiding, totally, if you're allergic, and then buy in smaller quantities. So if you feel, this week I want to consume 5 liters of yogurt, you can buy 500 grams in 10 places or so. Or probably if you are a big you eat yogurt, you can buy 1 liter in maybe 5 places, and then buy 1 liter you consume one after the other. You leave the rest open and closed. Okay, so I think if you follow this tip, you are not likely to have a food safety issue with the yogurt. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, so much for those educative tips. And thank you. I really appreciate it. So moving on to Esther. So we want to address some of the misconceptions around the additives of yogurt. So Ma, could you tell us what are some of the misconceptions, or rather myth, right? People, because sometimes people believe that yogurt is meant for kids, yogurt are not meant for adults, and then others believe that because yogurt is too expensive, there must be some preservatives, like some sweeteners that must have been put inside the products. That's why it's so expensive and it can be harmful to the human health. So, Ma, could you quickly address these misconceptions around the additives and also around the the products itself? You're muted, Ma.
Sorry about that. Okay, so misconceptions. Yogurt, the cost, additives. Okay, first of all, yogurt is for everybody. Kids, adults, everybody is good to take it. He mentioned lactose intolerant patients. Actually, they are even advised to take yogurt, but like he said, if they are very, very, very allergic, like if the severity of the allergy is so much, they can actually avoid all dairy products. So people that are lactose intolerant are actually advised to actually take yogurt. Why? Because the lactose is broken down to lactic acid. I am trying to see communities that are welcomed by yogurt. So the kids is good for them. Adults is good for them. So we have varieties that are even healthy for the diabetics. You have the unsweetened varieties. Okay. You have the plain one. So you can have it served in different ways. So yogurt is primarily a food for all. Okay. Then coming down to additives. Yeah, you talked about sweeteners. Sugar is a sweetener, right? But then it's a nutritious sweetener because it contributes to your caloric intake. So, but then if we are looking at non-nutritive sweeteners that are used, they are not per se dangerous to the health. Okay, but then like we've said, they are additives, so they are not purely natural. It's not making your yogurt purely natural. They are non-nutritive sweeteners, like you have the aspartame, SCK, sucralose, and what have you. So these are sweeteners that don't contribute to your calorie intake. So they are just there in your body. It's just for your taste bud. They are flushed out of your system at the end of the day. So they don't increase your energy. So you see zero Coke, you see it is sugar free, it is this. They are adding those sweeteners just for our sweet perception, just for us to feel the sweet taste. But at the end of the day, they are not contributing to our nutrition. Okay. So in quote, these additives, I'm talking about the sweeteners in particular.
You're muted again, Ma.
Yeah, I'm check.
What is this? Okay, so they are not per se harmful. What makes any substance harmful is the dosage, the quantity that is taken in. So even water, when you take it in excess, it becomes harmful. So when manufacturers, truth being told is that these sweeteners, you can't even decide to use them in excess because the food cannot even be consumed. So at the end of the day, in quotes, they are not per se harmful. Coming to stabilizers, stabilizers are added to yogurts. You know, he talked about the yogurt drinks, even the homemade yogurt or the normal yogurts that are not having that are no yogurt drink, that are not post-pasteurized. They actually still add stabilizers like gelatin, pectin, modified starch, all these things. These ones are actually still food. They are consumed in one way or the other. So it's not as though they are coming into the product to harm you. No, they are still food. It's just that maybe if milk was meant to be 115% per se, and due to cost and considering also affordability for consumers, they try to tame it down and then add some of these additives to make it still affordable. It doesn't make the yogurt not nutritious, please. It just has incorporated other things that will make it presentable and affordable to consumers. Okay, so I have mentioned sweeteners, I've mentioned stabilizers. Then there is this class called preservatives. So ideally, we're not meant to have preservatives in yogurt. The yogurt is meant to be stored in the chiller, like refrigerated. So that refrigeration is the advised or recommended method of storage of yogurt. Yes, you can see some products having that, but then their dosages are meant to be very, very minimal, just to make sure that contaminants maybe do not find their way to thrive and affect the beneficial microorganisms, like DG has said. So I think with this, basically cleared all the myths. You're taking your yogurt drink, like he has said, is yogurt drink. It is not yogurt. Gone, because those cultures are not active anymore. But when, like he said, there are still companies that are doing the normal yogurt. You will see those ones, you don't store them on the shelf. So the first thing that will help consumers know that, yes, I'm taking a yogurt drink or I'm taking a pure yogurt, is where did they store this product? Do you see the product always on the shelf, on the ground, under the sun? Then it's a yogurt drink. Is the shelf life 6 months, 4 months, 1 year? Then it's a yogurt drink. Or is the shelf life shorter, like a month or some weeks, and then it is strictly to be refrigerated, then it is yogurt. So I think I've tried now. Is there any part I am missing out? You can actually taught me on that.
Not really. You actually covered all areas. So thank you so much. This brings me to another question, right? So is there any specific time where yogurt can be taken? Like, is yogurt meant to be taken as breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Is there any particular time at all in the day that yogurt is meant to be taken?
Deji, is there? I feel it's a meal that can be taken at any time, but I think preferably lunch, dinner, I don't know. Yeah, it's somewhat a heavy beverage to be taken in the morning. Milk is lighter, but yogurt is thicker, right? But still, you can, if people take custard in the morning, I think yogurt can still be taken, though. But just for preference sake, you might decide to do it towards the afternoon and evening time. But then I feel it can still be consumed at any time of the day. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Deji, do you agree with that? Do you agree to that?
Yes, basically, yeah, because I don't think I've come across any nutritional or any research that talks about when you can take. I've not. Oh my, yes, I don't think so. So you can take it, like you said, some people actually love it to be breakfast. Probably because, you can grab it in the fridge and they can just bring it out and just scoop it and then eat and then they'll just go off to where they are going. Probably that's why people love it as a breakfast, but yogurt is fine for any time of the day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your vast knowledge with us. And we'll come to the end of the discussion. So before we end this, we want you, Deji, just quickly share with us, do you have any closing remark, any takeaway message for the people that are listening right now?
Yes. Just to highlight some of the things we have said before, you got the nutritional benefits are, as a fermented product. It's not what you see every day. You don't see Streptococcus, Thermophilus, Lactobacillus bulgaris, because in other foods you see it in yogurt. So that means that the benefit you will get from yogurt, you might not be able to get it from some other food, specifically speaking. And then I will also advise consumers to always, it is good to always read labels when you buy products. You understand? Like Esther, I've said. So even beyond looking at the shelf where they store it, which is actually your first line of identifying yogurt and yogurt drink, because you can't store yogurt on the shelf. Is a fat that so much is a fat. You can't store it on the shelf. If it's on the shelf, it's either is a yogurt drink or it probably have a heavy dose of preservatives. Okay, and then whichever way, you are not really taking the yogurt in its food natural. And so always look at the label, read labels. There are many types of yogurt. You need to familiarize yourself with it. Look out for the word drink, because we also have regulators that regulating this in the industry. So you cannot produce a yogurt drink and write yogurt on your product. Okay, so they can make that drink a little bit tiny so that maybe you don't see it as much as the yogurt that will be big. But the fact is that if you look at, you will see yogurt drink and you will see yogurt. Okay, so we have Greek yogurt, we have the regular, so there are yogurts also made for. So I mean, it depends on you. Read yogurts, read labels, read ingredients. Is this one made from skimmed milk, which is it's made from a milk that the fat has been almost totally removed? Is this one made from full cream milk? And then stuff like that. Just read, just to identify, because some people, they will tell you, I drank this yogurt, it was okay. Then they take another one. They don't really feel that goodness that they felt in the first one that they took. So they are like, what is this? It's because they probably take a full fat yogurt made from a full fat milk, and they take another one from skimmed milk, stuff like that. So their preferences, begins to shake and stuff like that. So it's always good that we can read, the labels when we buy yogurt. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. What about you, Ma? Any closing feedback? Any closing remark for the audience?
I think Digi has said it all. And just to add, still coming back to the cost of yogurt, I still don't feel that yogurt is an expensive food. That's the truth. If you can spend 500 naira, 600 naira to buy a carbonated drink, to buy drink that is literally sweetener, that is giving you nothing, like it's just a test quencher, and then you have to pay more or less times 2 for something that is packed with nutrients. You have sufficient protein in it, you have sufficient minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and what have you. Then you have those microorganisms, this starter culture in them. I don't think it is really so much for us. So ideally, sincerely, I don't see yogurt to be an expensive food. He mentioned Greek yogurt. Some people will be, why is Greek yogurt so very expensive? Why is parfait very expensive? So they should understand it. The thicker the yogurt is, the more the milk content of that yogurt. So Greek yogurt is primarily strained, so it's more concentrated. So that is the same way the nutrients are concentrated. So the thicker the yogurt you have, that's why they are actually more expensive compared to the ones you just drink over the bottle, right? Or over a pack. So please, dear consumers, yogurt is not expensive. Just spend the money. It's good for your health, your gut, your body, your immune system, your brain, your heart. Every part of your body will thank you for taking yogurt. And there are also products out there that has gone outside just these 2 strains of microorganisms. So add extra probiotics, like to add more beneficial microorganisms. Also note that these ones, they will come out boldly to tell you that they are written probiotic yogurts. So when you see those ones, still know that you're going to pay more because more microorganisms came in. So we should just have the mindset that we are taking yogurt as medicine, as a drug when we consume them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. You guys have been a wonderful guest. And with this, we've come to the end of today's discussion. So see you in the next episode. Bye for now. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, let's go.